Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. It's your boy Toppyou. Nowadays, so we're actually going to react to D4vd Is Evil by Penguin Zero, guys. If you guys like content like this, you know what it is. Comment down below, hit a like on this video. Let's get right into it, guys.
I just wanted to briefly give you the latest information in the D4vd case and the murder of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. I know I've made a couple videos yapping about this, and it's a really genuinely difficult topic to even talk about because of how disgusting it is. But the reason why I keep bringing it up is because there is a not small number of people, a relatively strong movement, the Dipshits for David, that are constantly trying to brainwash people into believing that David has been framed. They keep regurgitating that, well, they haven't found him guilty yet, thus we know he's innocent and he has been framed, he's actually a victim in all of this, and they're trying to bury all of the real information and muddy everything.
Yeah, well, that will happen when you actually have fans, no matter what artist it is. Once an artist you love, you will not want to actually see the artist go away for life or, and make any kind of jail time because they want the artist to actually be out, no matter what the situation is. So that's basically what's happening right now. Some of these people and them do want the favorite artist to actually go into no kind of jail time.
Even though so much of this evidence is publicly available evidence. That, like, not even all the stuff that's in the case right now, there is so much information you can find that if you have a functioning frontal lobe will lead you to one conclusion. D4vd is pure evil. And every new piece of information from the prosecution here is beyond disturbing. So I just blabber about this because I want to at least provide the real facts about the case here to try and combat all of the incorrect gobbledygook people are spitting out there, this mumbo jumbo from this group that for some reason wants everyone to be supportive of D4vd and like plug their ears to what the prosecution is bringing forth. It's fucking lunacy.
Remember, he actually real famous, and when he actually real famous, that what does happen. You have so much of fan base actually so large. You have people who actually don't even want to believe, no matter what the situation is. And right now, his situation is actually real. I even know how to even describe it. You understand, man? The things that he actually hear that happened to that girl, then he actually found out that he was actually with her. Then he actually found out she was in his car on her live and stuff like that. So that's actually crazy to the core.
Mark, the details alleged by prosecutors are frankly disgusting. In this preliminary 8-page brief signed by LA District Attorney Nathan Hochman, prosecutors paint a picture of a rising pop star who they say lured a young girl and then eliminated her when she threatened to expose their relationship and derail his fame.
This had been brought up previously with the potential motive behind D4vd's killing of Celeste Rivas Hernandez. He had known her since she was 11 and sexually abused her, and he didn't even hide this deplorable situation here. She had appeared in like streams, there's videos of the two of them together. His community was even aware of her, but according to the mom,
yeah, for she age and stuff like that, when you actually hear she age and stuff like that, and then you get to learn that she was actually in his videos and you could actually see her in his streams and stuff like that. Yeah, you ask like parental guidance, like where your parents and stuff is, like should have somebody, watching over and making sure nothing crazy actually go on. And something else, want to know how them things that's actually happening.
They didn't know that she was a child. They were unaware of her age, nor did they know that she was reported missing. I don't know if that's true or not, or if the mods are just trying to cover their own ass so they don't end up on the hook and in trouble. Couldn't tell you, but the point is, there is a lot of evidence with these two publicly together in photos, videos, all of that. And at some point, it is alleged that she made a threat about, making it more known that she's a child. She is a minor. And thus the prosecution...
Imagine she's the younger one to actually notice that, and she actually young. When the older person supposed to be the one to actually be aware of the situation and be like, nah, this cannot work, or this don't make sense, or just not to go into it in the first place.
Alleges that the motive was D4vd wanting to save his career because if that information got out, it would damage his blossoming career. So, in order to try and save that, he killed her.
In court for the second time today, attorneys for the singer, whose real name is David Burke, fought to seal the brief that prosecutors believe lays out a specific timeline and evidence of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez's murder. Prosecutors allege Rivas Hernandez and Burke first met when she was just 11 years old, and they have explicit sexual photos of the two. The brief also claims Burke stabbed Celeste several times and watched her bleed to death.
Now, in the previous information that was provided by prosecution, they were talking about the child pornography that they found on David's phone. Now they are also saying that there are explicit sexual photos of David and Celeste together. So that is probably the child porn that they were referring to then. Also saying...
That's actually crazy though, you understand, man? So at the end of the day, it just have all this evidence, so it actually pushing and showing that he was actually really with that young lady. That's crazy though.
That the two had met when she was 11. And the autopsy report was recently made public, where the cause of death was revealed to be sharp objects through the torso. So they are alleging that David stabbed her multiple times and then watched her bleed to death.
In the days after prosecutors claimed David had slaughtered Rivas Hernandez, they say he purchased tools to dismember her body. Wow. Prosecutors say Amazon delivered 2 chainsaws, a body bag, and blue inflatable swimming pool to David's home, all ordered under a fake name. Prosecutors say David cut off 2 of her fingers because one of them had a tattoo of his name on it. Prosecutors also allege they have text messages that discuss sex between the two, her pregnancy, and an abortion.
What? Pregnancy and abortion? That's crazy. Sorry, you know, a lot of people are asking the question, you know. Where is her parents? Where are her parents? Where are the people who are actually supposed to keep an eye on this young lady? How was she having all this level of freedom to be able to move from point A to point B without any kind of parental overview? You understand, man? Why? Why was that? Was it because he was famous? Was it because, you know, he was somebody in the limelight? Was it because of that? Nobody actually take the time to actually have an overview on what the situation with 2 of them was. That's kind of crazy though when you actually sit down and think about it. But you know, a lot of situations like that actually does go on in the world. I am not out here to judge anybody, to be honest with you, but someone actually had lost their life and is a young lady that now started to live, and that is kind of crazy when you actually think about it, you know. Not even be able to even see come out your teens, you know, and be in your 20s.
Every new piece of information that comes out from this case here is just shockingly evil. Like, this guy is the fucking devil, man. Holy. It's unthinkable. Correct. Just actual unfathomable evil.
True.
So, there's allegations that she was pregnant and also had an abortion.
That's
and
crazy.
They also have evidence of text messages exchanged between like David and Celeste about sex. There were some headlines floating around earlier, like yesterday, that apparently said that, this is from Celeste to David, that all they do is have sex and hang out, and she wants something more than that. That's so fucked up. This is a child that David is routinely sexually abusing. Now
go and like big up to Charlie. I like how he does actually put across his stuff so real, especially when it comes down to this case where a lot of people might try to censor and try to, you know, hide. He actually talks very real and you see it for what it is. So big up to him.
The method of chopping up her body to try and hide it was never disclosed to my knowledge, but here the prosecution is saying that they found evidence that he had purchased chainsaws and an inflatable pool, and that's how he was dismembering her corpse. Her corpse was found in pieces in the trunk of his vehicle after roughly 5 months decomposing in there. And another thing is, with this information about her pregnancy and abortion, it reminded me that when this story was first breaking and I was first covering it, there were a lot of like screenshots being shared around of things David had said to his community, and one of them did mention a child on the way. Now, I don't imagine Discord screenshots from David are going to be anything the prosecution is going to be using in court in any big capacity. I imagine they have far stronger evidence.
And actually said I have 40 terabytes of information, yeah? I don't know where they get all that, but them on some next level, dog. Them really want to put this guy down.
Than that, but even still, the fact that stuff like this exists is extremely alarming, and it is publicly accessible information here. To my knowledge, those screenshots, like the one where he said he had a kid on the way with @deleted_user, haven't been debunked as some kind of hoax or photoshopped or a user that was impersonating him. I haven't seen anything to that effect, but community members seem to think that he was joking about that it was just a bit of a goof about the kid on the way. Though, in light of what the prosecution alleges about Celeste being pregnant and abortion, seems like there's a chance it wasn't a joke. But again, I don't think Discord messages here are going to be something the prosecution is relying on. I imagine they have far more solid evidence. But I just wanted to mention this because it reminded me, and it is just another piece of publicly available information that is out there that is now having even more weight put on it because of what the prosecution has been alleging with everything they have.
And text messages where Celeste threatens to expose Burke and destroy his career. In July, months after prosecutors say he'd stabbed her to death, Burke placed her body in the inflatable pool he'd ordered to prevent her blood from spilling onto his garage floor and used a chainsaw to cut off her limbs.
The medical examiner's report released just last week had noted those pieces of blue plastic in Rivas Hernandez's remains. Prosecutors now say those pieces of blue plastic were pieces of the inflatable pool that they say David had placed her body in. Burke has pleaded not guilty. He will stay locked up in jail until his next court date in May.
I don't think that's some kind of big coinky-dink there that the blue plastic that was noted in that report from the body happens to also potentially match the inflatable pool that they allege he had purchased in addition.
And we know this is America, so you definitely know if it's really true. They're actually going to test that piece of plastic, whatever, with the plastic for the pool, which most likely if they actually find it in his place, wherever, if it actually have the evidence close by, wherever, does actually find the evidence. You know, it does do the thing. And if they test that plastic to what he buy and stuff like that, and it actually, well, the pool, and actually the same type of material, everything adds up, guilty.
Of those chainsaws, like, I think if anyone's got their thinking caps on, and if you're actually bothering to pay attention to the case and actually look at the evidence, even the evidence that is publicly accessible, it should be an obvious conclusion here that David is not innocent. He is not some fucking angel, some saint that's been framed by a ne'er-do-well out there that's trying to, ruin David for their dubious schemes. David is pure evil. That's what I believe, and I think all of the evidence points to that fact as well.
Former prosecutor turned criminal defense attorney R.J. Dreiling says David's defense team will seize on one detail.
They note in their brief that David was sending text messages to Celeste after her death. They're going to use that to prove that, look, there's no way he knew that she was dead or responsible for it. He's still trying to communicate with her after her death.
That's a pretty fucking weak argument, if you ask me. No. All of this evidence, it's hooey. It's a load of hooey because the only fact that matters is David was sending her text messages after she was already murdered. Why would he do that if he knew she was dead? Wouldn't make any sense. Checkmate. Gotcha. Like, that's trash. I think that is a complete trash argument because this is clearly someone who is going to great lengths to try and hide this. Chopping up, dismembering her corpse and stuffing it in a trunk. I imagine that even someone with only a handful of neurons could have come up with the scheme of still sending text messages even after death to try and give himself an alibi. Like, no, look, guys, I didn't know. See, I sent messages when she was dead. I didn't know. It's terrible. Who could have done this? We got to find who did this. There's a maniac on the loose. Like, I think it is a terrible, terrible argument. Now, of course, they're paid to represent him. They have to do their job. I get it, I guess. But my point is, I don't think that's going to be very strong on their side. I just really don't. Anyway, as always, praying that there will be justice for Celeste Rivas Hernandez here in this case. And just wanted to give you the latest update.
Alright guys, hope you guys actually enjoyed this video. Hope actually you get a little knowledge of the situation with Celeste Hernandez that actually had transpired with this David guy. And a lot of you guys are actually fans of him and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, things not looking too good for that guy, right? Because I don't see the reason you would need to chainsaw pool unless you was going to actually get into the business of cutting down trees or something like that. You're to start a business, you must get some kind of contract work or some kind of thing, etc., etc. But I don't actually see why you would actually need to order those stuff and post it on something fake. So people don't understand this with the internet. It have no way you could actually hide on the internet. No way you could actually hide on the internet, because at the end of the day, no matter what you actually do on the internet, everything is being tracked on the smallest level. You cannot even hide. So people just feel if you make a fake profile and you go and make some kind of transaction, they have no way to actually find you out. Trust me, there are ways to find you out. Your IP and a lot of different things. Even if you try to cover it up with a proxy and stuff like that, still. You understand? They still could find out where you at and stuff like that. Alright guys, so hit a like on this video, subscribe to this channel, comment down below, let me know what you guys think on this David and Celeste situation. Right, this video is from Penguin Zero. You guys could actually go and check him out as well, aka Charlie. It was your boy Toppyou, and I'm out.